Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. Spencer Todd here. Really excited to have Anina Langhans on the podcast today. I know I was going to mess up your name. Sorry. I've known Anina for a while now, so we asked her to come and kind of give her story about where she works, which is LipoCheck, which is a startup in Germany. They help with lipedema patients, and so Anina can give us the whole rundown on it, but. We always kind of start with you introducing yourself with just a few words. So if you want to just kind of give us a little bit to kind of understand who you are, and then we can go from there.
Thank you, and thanks for having me here today. So my name is Anina. I think we came in like that without the Langhans at the end. So to me, I'm an engineer, and in my free time, actually, I love to go hiking and biking with my dog. I think this is something Spencer and me we share, going outside with the dogs.
Hmm.
And in the winter time, I love skiing. So that's also one of the reasons why I moved to the south of Germany into the beautiful Alps.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm jealous. It looks super pretty there. So,
Oh, it is.
cool. Yeah. So can you give us kind of a rundown, just like high level, what LipoCheck does, kind of like the product that they offer and who you're helping?
Sure. Short is always difficult here, but so LipoCheck was founded like 2 years ago by me, my dad, and my sister. So the idea actually came directly from the real needs of my father. He's a doctor, and he observes in his medical practice actually that lipedema patients really need help, and also he, as a doctor, needs help in a digital way. So just for all of you, lipedema affects 1 in 10 women, and in Germany alone, that is 4 million people, and they are suffering actually from uncontrolled, painful fat distribution in their body, especially in the legs and arms. And the healthcare system simply isn't designed to handle this high number of chronically ill patients, which is leading to a long, long waiting time. So my dad had a waiting time at this moment when he came up with the idea of 2 years. And yeah,
Oh
and
my gosh.
inefficient care pathways. So this is that was the point where we actually stepped in and built our health platform.
That's really cool. So yeah, it came out of his like personal experience. That's so many people too. I did not realize it affected that many people, and it's something I'd never really heard about until you know we got to know each other. So that's really wild. Cool. I think so. You mentioned you're an engineer. So are you CTO at the company? Can you tell us a little bit about what you do at the company?
Yeah, sure. So I'm the co-founder, and it's called CPTO. So
Hmm.
mainly from my background, I was previously a senior product manager, and now I'm taking mainly responsible for product and tech in our company. So this means my team and me, we are building the entire LipoCheck platform and all its products, from like initial concept and early prototypes to then the final product or features.
Cool. And is it still just you, your dad, and your sister? Or how big's the company now?
So we are 6 people now, actually.
There you go.
Yeah.
How was it working with all family members? I'm always curious about that.
It's fun, actually. It's
Yeah,
super fun.
yeah,
Yeah. Because we trust us, we can be honest to each other.
hmm,
No one is mad, we know how to handle each
that's
other.
true.
So
Yeah,
it's actually super easy.
I know. Yeah, I should start something with my brother here sometime soon. We talk about it all the time. So you can be brutally honest with your siblings and your parents, right? So that's the nice thing. Cool.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. So where is LipoCheck now, kind of in terms of, funding, growth, revenue, users, stuff like that?
So actually this year was like super fun. Um, we marked like we have now over 12,000 users on our platform and our first health insurance contract secured. So we are already gaining significant traction, I would say. Currently, we are in a seed funding round of 1.2 million to invest like in further product development, also to get more contracts with the health insurance companies and international expansion.
Nice. So,
Yeah.
what kind of insurance did you end up like finding that worked for you?
So the first insurance company was the small insurance company from Germany. They're called Pronova BKK.
Hmm.
There was like actually we worked together like for the last half a year to make this happen.
Hmm.
And this is actually called LipoAI. So it's a
Hmm.
care model program for lipedema patients exclusively from um, health insurance companies for their members.
That's cool. So yeah, so you kind of like co-built LipoAli with this insurance company. Would you recommend doing that? Because it sounded like it worked really well for you for kind of like defining what product you needed and kind of like the reimbursement pathway and things like that.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
This was actually the best thing that could happen to us because they actually teach us how the public health insurance sector works, like behind um, the walls, actually, or behind the building.
Hmm.
Like we just know it, like as members, we're using it. Like we're going to the doctors, we have our cards, putting that in the system, and like they teach us the language actually of the public health insurance sector here in Germany, which was super helpful to understand that.
Yeah. They lift the curtain a little bit for you. That's really nice actually. And you don't always hear that about, insurance companies being like a partner with you. Sometimes it feels like they're a little bit like transactional. So that's kind of cool that. And how'd you get
Yeah,
introduced to them?
actually, it's a super funny story because we were at the DEMEA, which is like
Uh-huh.
a huge exhibition in Germany here for health care. And we had a pitch at the startup stage area, and the Pronova BKK guy, like he's called Josef. Josef was really running behind us to catch us up, to get in contact with us. And this is where this great love story begins. But nowadays, we figured out that more small health insurance companies are getting up on this and helping startups to build a product that works for the public health sector. So there
Yeah.
are awards and stuff like that that they are coming up with, and when you win this kind of award, you get also like this half-year support, like we did now from the Ponova.
Yeah, we've been hearing that too. Like competitions and stuff like that, which is pretty cool actually. And just having transparency on kind of what their expectations are seems like it's a real benefit too. Because a lot of I've talked to a few other people too, and maybe you've had the same experience where essentially you're not exactly sure what's going to fit the criteria for reimbursement while you're trying to build the product. So just knowing that from the beginning is like not only saves you a lot of time but headaches too, because you just don't know. You know?
And if you think you know it, you don't know
Yeah.
it.
In for a rude
There's
awakening.
there's there's always a surprise coming around.
Yeah, literally. That's funny. Okay, cool. So you were working on that actually before you got like the CE mark and did the medical device certification. Um,
Yeah.
so I know
Actually,
this
I did it
because
on the go.
yeah, build the airplane while you're flying it a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
Um, can you run us through kind of the process of deciding how you were going to do medical device certification? You know, kind of the options that you explored. And then kind of what the process was like for you when you actually decided to do it.
Maybe I need to jump back a little bit in the time because like
Hmm.
we met like a year ago
Yeah.
and I did the certification now like 3 months ago.
Hmm.
So what happened in between? So there was it was actually sure for us that we wanted to be CE marked.
Hmm.
Um, but actually we wanted to be CE marked with our lifestyle product like the LipoCheck app. This didn't work out because we couldn't understand or we didn't know the public healthcare system, how they do stuff. So that's why we built LipoAI, and LipoAI is now a CE marked product or medical device. But a year ago, or 1.5 years ago, I actually started to talk to other startups, like we are like startups in Germany. We know each other, we support each other, and especially in the healthcare sector. And they all recommended us, like consultancies, big companies who are do like the CE mark with you. And we reached out to them, and yeah, I would say we uh, get a lot of like quotes from various firms. So, and also a friend even suggested us to do it by our own.
Hmm.
Um, but to be honest, at this point, I had no idea where to start.
Yeah.
And the consultant fees also, like they had a range from 40K to 70K, and some even of them wanted more money for their own QMS software
Hmm.
as an additional license. So you pay like every month for the software on top. There was a point like 1.5 years ago where we were like, okay, let's put that on hold for a while. Um,
Yeah. And were these quotes for class one or just like,
class one,
yeah,
just
okay.
class one. Um,
Okay.
and we know that we, of course, we want to put AI in there, and we will be 2A at one point. And
Hmm.
um, but at this point, we were like, okay, this is too much cost, especially for a startup, which is just like in the pre-seed funding round. Yeah, then last year by chance, I heard about Formly and reached out to you, Spencer, and we had like our first call.
Hmm.
And actually, you convinced me um, when you showcase or demoed your software with your roadmap. What you have now on your website, like at the first point, like
Hmm.
and also there we also had the source because at this point, like your software wasn't ready yet, like
Hmm.
100% complete at that time. And I was like, no, I decided to take this risk and go with you. Because it was exactly what I was looking for, like just like a guidance
Hmm.
through every step and task.
Yeah, and having something visualized too, that's what a lot of people told me was like it's just really nice to be able to see everything as opposed to someone just giving you a bulleted list of things you need to do and not knowing what order to do it in. So, yeah, Anina was one of our early kind of beta clients for the software, so she was nice enough to always give us honest feedback about making. So you can thank her if the software feels very intuitive now. It's because Anina yelled at us and said, "This is too hard. You got to make it easier."
Sorry.
We liked it. It was
Yeah,
good. Yeah, yeah.
and also the second point was actually I wanted to build this kind of expertise internally and not be dependent on some
Hmm.
consultancies or other like firms and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. That's a very like common or typical process. I feel like we hear from a lot of clients is you get these quotes and then you don't really understand a lot of times what you're getting from the company for that amount of money, and then so you start looking for other options. So okay, that's cool. So obviously I know from experience that you just got certified. Like I guess been about a month now that LipoAli's been up and running. We've done a couple bug fixes, couple design changes on it a little bit. So things are rolling along. So have you noticed? Have you started with sales for LipoAli? Has it been kind of like progressing pretty well? Like how's everything been since kind of the certification?
Um, Actually, perfect.
Yeah.
So we launched 1st of October, and we actually like our expectations were like hell. Um, so the first month was just amazing, to be honest. We didn't expect that many subscribers on Lipo Alley, and it is 4 times more than we expected actually. And this is like super cool to see.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. That's really cool. So, and you even just told me you had like someone who was in their 90s that wanted to sign up recently, which is
Yeah,
really cool.
91 years old. This is so cool.
Yeah, yeah, that's really awesome. So you get to see kind of like the breadth of people that you're able to help once this thing's kind of certified. That's really cool. So,
Mm.
um, sweet. So kind of nice that that was able to work out. I actually didn't know that either, so it's cool that you were able to fill us in on that as well. So always nice to hear. But you mentioned you were part of a few programs. Where is LipoCheck kind of operating out of right now? And have you found there was like a benefit to, certain locations in Germany for like building the company, or, depending on what stage you are, kind of like your investment requirements, things like that?
When we started with like the idea, we had Exist. This is like what do you call that? A grant from Germany. You
Hmm.
do that in cooperation with a university. So my sister was like just like a year out of the university, so we did that in Berlin. And during that time, this um, is like a 1 year support you get. We founded LipoCheck actually in Berlin.
Hmm.
But this year in February, we moved our headquarters to Leipzig,
Hmm.
which is in Saxony. Um, and we choose this as our base after joining the SpinLab Accelerator. The reason for that is actually the support for startups in Saxony has like been fantastic. They have a super strong ecosystem and resources that have really helped us grow and scale up our operations there.
Hmm. Yeah, and we've met David. David's really great. David helps run Spin Lab, so shout out David. So and we have a deal with Spin Lab clients too. We give them a discount on the Formally software too. But also, it's just like it sounds like a really great kind of ecosystem they're building there, and it sounds like they do have a decent amount of like funds and not only like like not only like the ecosystem, but they have a decent amount of financial support for startups there too, which is really nice. Okay, cool. So we actually touched on this a little bit, but I was going to ask you kind of what your biggest success has been the past like few months with LipoCheck if you want to chat about it. But it sounds like this like growth that you've seen the past month just from certification seems to be it. Is there anything else that you you want to touch on, or maybe something that was like challenging, over the past year that you guys were able to kind of overcome, or just like general journey of LipoCheck over the past year?
Over the past year, even the last half of year was just a roller coaster, to
Yeah,
be honest.
yeah.
I mean, it all started like with reaching our first 10K users, which was like a huge, huge milestone.
Hmm.
Then we launched the second product. Oh no, actually, so to how did I say that in September? I think in September it was like really hard for like a really tough time for me because we launched two products within like 2 weeks.
Hmm.
I don't know how we managed to do that, but we did it. This was like also super crazy, and the one product with the doc report where users can receive a digital medical lipedema report.
Hmm.
This was the first one in September, so we needed to onboard doctors and so on, and created the connection to them within our LipoCheck app. And then also 1st of October, the launch with the LipoLi app
Hmm.
with all the CE mark and everything. But actually, the CE mark was the easiest thing with your software. All that kind of half a year of a roller coaster and stress and stuff like that.
I did not pay Anina to say that, by the way. That was her own
No,
words. That's awesome.
I mean,
I mean,
I mean,
that many releases is a ton, especially for the engineering team. So I can only imagine
yeah,
how crazy it
it
was.
was not just for the engineering team. It was also hard for the marketing team to put that all together, like in a good timeline. How when we will do what kind of marketing steps to push our new stuff. So
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And I think your team is actually really great at that. You make, I've seen you all over kind of like the conference, environment, making, doing pitches and doing talks and stuff like that. So I can only imagine, how much how much work goes into both the product and the marketing side of things. So that's cool. Okay, sweet. Um, so like one of the last questions I was curious about, kind of getting your perspective on, is kind of like business and regulatory policies. have you ran into any, because obviously MDR is really difficult for startups in Europe, but there's also all kinds of other stuff that maybe, as a startup, we don't hear about it, because we don't have to encounter it, whether it's like taxes or relocation or something like that. So, and I think Germany typically gets a bad rap as far as being one of the more difficult places to kind of circumvent regulations and getting things through quickly. So, how would you say your experience has been kind of in that space? Has there been anything like that you've been able to do if it has been difficult to kind of overcome issues like that? Maybe if there's like something that's really a thorn in your paw that's been, something you've had to struggle with over the past year, or maybe it's been super easy. I don't know. Is that, what do you think?
Uh, the good old German bureaucracy.
Yeah.
It's an experience in itself. Like really, I still have to laugh, and I love to say your quote when you just texted me like when we were in this super stressful thing to get
Mhm.
certified. When you said or texted me, I totally underestimated the German love for processes.
It is very
Like
true.
it's
Yeah.
all the time like a real challenge. Like especially
Hmm.
when you do stuff like for the first time. Like
Hmm.
you start with founding the company. Um, this took us like I think 2 months or something.
Wow.
Um, thanks to the classic like chicken and egg scenario. I don't know if you say that in
Hmm.
English.
Hmm.
So the notary needed something from the bank account. The account needed first something from the notary, and so forth and so on. And if you don't have like a bank person who is doing something like not that right,
Hmm.
then you're good to go and can finally found a company here in Germany. And then also like with the CE mark, all the German bureaucracy to do all this like getting into the databases and stuff like that just to get approved.
Yeah. Yep.
Receiving letters, waiting for them while you're on vacation, like all this. Wow.
You even called, or the competent authority called you, or you called them
I
to,
called them
you called
because
them and yeah.
I really like we had this time pressure because we had like with the
Yeah.
Pronova BKK we had this agreement that we will start on 1st of October,
Hmm.
and also like the company who will then have like doing the invoices to the insurance company, they needed at least 2 weeks to set everything up on their endpoint. And we were like, okay, until then we really need to launch and we need to be ready. And it took like, I don't know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks to get in there to finally upload all the documents, like
Hmm. Yeah.
writing all the documents and everything. That was the easiest part, actually, getting them in there. It was the
Yeah.
hard part and access to it. Like, yeah, it's always fun to deal
It
with
is
it.
always fun. Yeah. So you always take your expected time, multiply by three, and that's what happens in Germany. And then if you ever, don't be afraid to call your competent authority because Anina did that and actually ironed everything out in a quick phone call. I was shocked. So there
Yeah,
are some
the
cheat
good old
codes there.
German way
Yeah, the
calling.
good German way of dialing
But
a
you need to
number.
find the right time to call, like not
Hmm.
before 8 and not after 3 p.m.
I
Otherwise,
see.
they're already in the fire. And of course, not between 11 and 1 because then it's lunchtime.
Of course. There we go.
Yeah.
See, there you go. You have you have the recipe for how to deal with your competent authority. Call between the right hours. I love that. That's really
I
funny.
think this is also the reason, like, I think I was the first company who did the CE mark with you, like, perfectly from the beginning and to the end. And this
Hmm.
is why you put it the task for the bureaucracy on front of the CE
Hmm.
mark instead of the end.
Yep. We start registering really early. I mean, you do the UTMED SRN registration like pretty much right away because you don't need like your UDI or anything. But yeah, I totally underestimated how long it took to do the DMIDS registration in Germany. But we got it done, and it's funny
Yeah.
too because we had another client who's in Germany, and it was kind of the same process. They didn't end up calling, but they sent them an email after a while to say, "Hey, like, what's going on with this?" And then, like the day after they sent an email, the account was up and running. So it sometimes it just takes bugging them and making sure that they're doing it to get things through. So don't be afraid to
Yeah.
talk to them.
Calling them.
They're not as scary as you might think they are. Yeah, exactly. So. Cool. All right. So that's I think that was a great overview. It was really cool. I think we can move on to kind of like our speed round ending questions.
Yep.
Um, yeah, it's our speed round. So, first question: what is a tool or an app that you can't live without in your daily day to day?
Like in the business, Slack and GitHub. Really, our whole company works in Slack
Yeah.
and it's running in Slack. It's
Do you have the
crazy.
customized emojis in there? Do you put your own?
Of course.
Of course. It's a
Like
prerequisite.
our senior engineer, she's a Chiefs fan. So we have
Oh.
the Chiefs emoji and we have I really and also what I really love about Slack, like we added a lot of automation in there. So for
Hmm.
example, whenever someone signs up in LipoAI or somebody bought a subscription, we get a notification, of course, with no information about the user, but just an information somebody bought something. And
Hmm.
this is giving you like super motivation and we share so much that it's crazy we're living in Slack, like really.
Yeah. Yeah, we do the same thing. It's actually really nice. It's like totally kind of like a little positive bump through the day. So, do you use Zapier for that? Or like an internal kind of like connection tool?
Actually, um, Slack has now so many integrations and
Oh, really?
third-party plugins, yeah, which is working super well. Also with like the Google Calendar is giving me a push notification into Slack when I have a meeting, or we also set it up like Google alerts for specific keywords like lipedema and so on to
Cool.
be sure that we get the latest news about
Hmm.
everything.
That's really cool, actually. Nice.
Yeah.
See, I thought I was using it a lot. Now I can do more, actually. Cool. Uh,
You can so much, like really, we are working in there.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. And like ordering on Uber Eats, whatever,
Like, no, really, like we also book our time off and it's like we are using HRV for that. And you
Really?
can have an HRV bot where you can just book in Slack your time off. And also
I'm
you're
not
like,
using Slack the right way then. Dang, that's sweet actually.
which is like super helpful, especially also when you're sick. Like
Hmm.
we all have Slack also on our phones, and you can just stay in bed and message your our Slack bot, "Hey, I'm sick. I'm calling in sick today," and there the bot is doing everything for you.
I love that. Okay, I'm gonna set that up for us too. That's cool.
Yeah,
Awesome.
you're
Okay.
welcome.
All right, next question. What is a book, a resource, a website, or a person that you follow that you think like every founder doesn't have to be a digital health founder, but maybe like a digital health med tech, founder should follow or read?
Um, in Germany, we are part of the Spitzenverband Digitale Gesundheitsversorgung e.V.
All right.
We Germans love long words. And what it is actually is it's a central industry representative for e-health companies in Germany.
Okay.
And so this association unites actually leading manufacturers and companies in digital healthcare. They are also in Slack and they are sharing there a lot of stuff like insights, and they also do a lot of political stuff and so on,
Hmm.
which is like super amazing.
So they have like a Slack dedicated Slack channel. Do they have like a
Mhm.
website, like a newsletter type of thing, or like how do you get the information from them typically?
Slack.
All Slack.
We are back there.
You really live in Slack. I love it. Okay. Okay, cool. Okay. So
Yeah.
can you just kind of go to their website or something and ask to
Yeah,
join?
just Google Spitzenverband Digitale Gesundheitsversorgung e.V.
Easy.
Easy.
Already done. Love it. Okay, cool. That's really nice. Really neat. I'm gonna actually see if we can put a link to that in the show notes too. So, okay. So, do you have a quote or kind of like an action or an activity or something that inspires you?
I think it was like, oh, when was it? Like 5 years ago or 4 years ago when they launched on Netflix the documentary about Bill Gates.
Hmm.
I really love his innovative ideas and also of his wife, like Melinda Gates, I think,
Hmm.
with her like incredible work through the Gates Foundation. Especially her dedicated to empowering women and addressing global health challenges. Like her actions show just like that impact-driven work and compassion like can really change lives worldwide. So
Yeah, they
this
touch
is,
so much stuff with the Gates Foundation. It's really,
yeah,
really cool. Yeah, yeah,
that's
totally.
just impressive and amazing what
Yeah,
they are doing.
yeah, definitely. I agree with that. Cool. Do you have another startup idea that you're really excited about working on, but you haven't started yet?
Always.
Always.
I
Love
have,
it.
I have so many ideas. Um,
Lay some on us.
I mean, there's endless potential, I would say, for improving processes
Hmm.
and enhancing efficiency through technology, especially in Germany. For me, it's always fun, like to think about ways to streamline or and also to simplify systems that we often take for like granted or don't realize could be improved, especially like in big companies where
Hmm.
I see it so often that they're so stuck in their processes where I'm like, yeah, we automated actually everything and they are wondering how we can do all that with like 6 people.
Yeah. And are you thinking like AI specifically to do that, or?
It doesn't even have to be AI. You just like can digitalize or automate so much in a so simple and easy way.
Hmm. It
You don't
it
even need
always
AI or something crazy about it.
it surprises me actually how much manual work people still do.
Yeah.
Like people still use paper QMSs some places, which is just mind blowing. But like, yeah, just like normal company processes, I totally agree. It's pretty insane. And then they'll. I think a lot of companies are guilty of just buying tools that don't necessarily solve the whole problem, but like maybe solve a part of it. And so they're really never actually like getting to the root of like this like systemic like process problem. So like I think that I agree with you. I think that things that are actually think holistically about like company processes and how you integrate something so that it's not just kind of like a bandage, but fixing like a full end-to-end process for people is like really, really useful for companies.
Mm, definitely.
Yeah.
And I also don't have the understanding why they always think like super globally. So start with a small team,
Mm-hmm.
prototype it, test it out, and then you still can roll it out or roll it back, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
There was always a way.
Yeah. 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 Totally. Yeah. Cool.
I just remember like when I studied in Berlin, I worked as a working student for a huge company, and a colleague in my team, he went on vacation. Fair enough, like for 2 weeks, and he asked me if I could take over his one task he needs to do like every week. I was like, yeah, sure, I can do that. I'm here. The task was like downloading 5 Excels and putting it together in one Excel by manually copy pasting it. I was like, wow, this is what you do every Friday for like 2 hours.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he was super thankful at the after the 2 weeks he came back, like because I just wrote like a super small in I think it was in VBA, like a little
Like a
macro
script.
inside of,
Yeah.
yeah, an Excel to automate that.
Yeah, there's
And
two
I
types
was
of
just,
people. There's people who will just do it and people will be like, I'm not gonna do this. I'm just gonna automate it. Yeah. And that's these are entrepreneurs, right? Yeah. Yeah, I love that.
to be honest, I'm wondering if they are still using this, but
He should have given you part of his
I hope
paycheck.
not so.
That's hilarious. I mean, but I mean, there's so many little types of opportunities like that at every single company, right? So I've done similar stuff at my previous companies too. And then you leave and no one knows how to do it anymore and they kind of freak out. But still, opportunities are there. So cool. Well, this was amazing, Anina. Thank you so much for taking time and
You're
giving us
welcome.
kind of a rundown on LipoCheck in your life and what you've accomplished over the past few years. So, can you tell us a little bit about our listeners where they can find more information on you and the company?
Yeah, sure. About me on
Hmm.
LinkedIn, obviously.
Hmm.
So Anina Langhans, that's how it's pronounced.
Yeah.
And about LipoCheck, of course, on all social media platform you can imagine. Like, of course,
Hmm.
also LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, Threads, and so on, everywhere else. Of course, we also have a website. It's called lipocheck.de. And we have a lovely newsletter. We don't spam you, so we just send it out, I think, once a month.
Love that. Cool. Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
put all the links to those in the show notes so everyone can go access that.
cool.
But other than that, that's the end of the podcast. Thanks everybody for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you. See you.